Hello everybody and welcome to Crime Glitch. This is my new YouTube channel, my very first YouTube channel since I was like 14 years old, and I will be focusing on true crime topics. All of my videos should be around 15 to 30 minutes long, and I will be breaking down different real world crime cases into bite-sized, easy to listen to bits of information with my own little bit of personality thrown in here and there. So before I start, I just want to say a huge thank you to my friend Schrodinger's cat, who is most likely the only reason you know about my channel already. But if you've never heard of him, he loves to laugh at stupid, and he's a great friend of mine, and he's really sweet. And the link to his channel will be in the description box. Anyways, I'm done babbling, and it's time to get into today's video topic. And that is ransomware, and how it has been utilized to attack the healthcare system at its core. On February 5th, 2018, Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital was attacked by hackers of unknown origins. These hackers managed to install something called ransomware onto the hospital's secure servers. So what the average person might not know is that 911 and hospitals and different emergency systems like that, they don't keep their records on the actual internet. I mean, could you imagine how easy that would be to hack? No, these places have entire server rooms that are dedicated to providing them with their own secure form of internet. So hospitals can email each other, but they can't email a Gmail account, for example. Which is kind of what makes this case so bizarre to me. I did a lot of research and I wasn't able to figure out how these hackers managed to get their virus onto the secure server. Ransomware is a type of computer virus that locks up your files and encrypts them or puts them behind a password. And then this password is only held by the hacker, and they're typically demanding a large sum of money in order to release your files. And in the case of Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital, they were being demanded $17,000. This kind of computer hack most commonly happens to individual people and not typically large-scale companies or organizations. And more often than not, it's sadly the elderly who are targeted by ransomware. This exact thing happened to Ian Simone, a Russian grandmother living in America in the fall of 2013. These hackers locked up all of her tax files, all of her personal information, and even all of the pictures of her granddaughter. These hackers demanded $500 in Bitcoin from Ian. And the most wild thing is they also provided this entire document about how to buy Bitcoin and a list of different websites where she could buy Bitcoin and send it to them. Like, apparently it was very sophisticated. Anyways, Ian was desperate. She wanted her files back, and she really wanted those pictures of her granddaughter back. So she paid the $500 in Bitcoin. But in the time it took her to send that $500, Bitcoin's market value had changed, and she was shorted $13 from the transaction. And as a result, the hackers doubled her ransom to $1,000. See, Bitcoin, as most of you know, is a cryptocurrency, but you might not know what that means. I'm going to struggle to explain it, so if anybody has a better way of explaining it, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll heart it. Cryptocurrency is, for lack of a better words, pure generated through electricity, and it's virtually untraceable and completely anonymous. So if I send $5 to you, the police can look at our transaction and know exactly what time and what bank account those transactions took place from. When it comes to cryptocurrency, the police, the FBI, nobody has any control over figuring out who sent this money or who received this money. And cryptocurrency is, as a result of being peer generated, very volatile, almost like a stock. For example, Elon Musk recently announced that Tesla Motors will no longer be accepting cryptocurrency in order to purchase their products. And this caused a huge crash in every value of pretty much every cryptocurrency, which was not very fun for the crypto investors out there. Anyways, my point is $1 in Bitcoin doesn't stay $1 very long. You will still forever hold the same amount of Bitcoin, but the dollar amount of that Bitcoin can go up and down wildly. And in the case of Ian, it went down and she owed another $13. And the hackers, instead of, being happy that they received almost $450, they doubled her ransom. So she owed another $500 plus the $13 she owed. If you can owe somebody who's blackmailing you, that is. So fast forward to 2018, and Hollywood Presbyterian is hit with what they are calling a random attack. All of their patient information was locked up behind an encryption. Their fax lines were jammed. Email was shut down. The hospital was in a complete panic because they had over 150 ICU beds affected by this outage. And they were forced to revert to a pen and paper system, which apparently some of the nurses did not have an issue with because they had been nurses for so long that it was just easier for them to write things on paper than it was to put them into a computer. However, the real bottleneck came from the transfer of patient information. So if somebody was waiting for lab results, for example, or an x-ray, they were no longer waiting on a fax from one side of the hospital to another. They were waiting on a physical person carrying a physical piece of paper. And I mean, we've all waited for a doctor in the hospital. Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital promised outside sources that it was putting patient care at its top priority. And they were successful in keeping all of the patients healthy and happy during this time, if not a little bit frightened and inconvenienced. Sadly, though, Hollywood Presbyterian did indeed pay the $17,000 ransom to retrieve their files. And thankfully they did get their files back, because personally I would be afraid that would be a bluff. But this hospital got lucky. It's rumored that September 10th in 2020, Hospital Dusseldorf in Germany was hit with a random ransomware attack. And they lost 4 ICU patients as a result. Now, this is just a rumor. So far, the hospital is denying these deaths took place and no patient names have been released. But regardless, ransomware attacks can take lives, and if they haven't already, they probably will. The worst part about this attack on Dusseldorf Hospital was that they were never even the intended target. The hackers were actually trying to attack Heinrich Heine University, but somehow got their wires crossed. Thankfully, the second the hackers realized they were unsuccessful in targeting the university and had actually targeted a hospital, they panicked and sent a letter to the hospital. The letter contained an apology, an explanation, a withdrawal of the ransom demands, and the encryption code for their files. So maybe they're not all bad. But like I said, all patients at Hollywood Presbyterian were unharmed by this attack. And actually, while researching this video, I discovered that a nursing college local to me got hit with a ransomware attack in 2019, and they were being demanded $54,000. And apparently this wasn't a random attack. Apparently it was very calculated, and they knew exactly what files to attack to damage the reputation of the school the most. Thankfully, they did not have to pay the ransom, and some very smart IT guys got their files unlocked. And all of the nursing students were given deadlines, extensions, and such so that they were unaffected by the attack. So ransomware is dangerous. We all know that. But how can you avoid being a target? Step 1, avoid clicking weird links. We've all gotten those messages on Twitter or dating apps telling you that if you just click this link, you can talk to the girl of your dreams. Don't do it. It's probably malware. If it's not going to be ransomware, it's going to be some sort of malware. Same goes for the ads on your favorite entertainment websites. I don't care how hot the singles in your area are, don't click that ad. And my final piece of advice is buy an external hard drive. They're cheap on Amazon, and just back up your computer files once a month. It's easy, and even if you don't end up with malware, you know, it can save you in the event of a total system failure. And if worst comes to worst, and you are sadly just sure that you have developed malware, or you're pretty confident that your computer shouldn't be running the way it is, go ahead and bring your computer into a local computer shop. They're going to give you much better service than anyone at any big box store is going to give you. So that's it for my first video. Another huge shout out to Schrodinger's cat. This is the third time I've had to record this video because I've had so many problems. Thankfully, I've got it figured out now. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and have a great day.